Shalom, everyone. We have walked a long journey together from the beginning of Genesis to this final moment, from creation to covenant to betrayal to redemption. And now we arrive at the closing scene, and the portion is taken from Genesis chapter 50, verse 14 through 25. Jacob has been buried. The mourning has passed, but something unexpected rises. Fear. Not Egypt's fear, not Pharaoh's fear, but the fear of Joseph's brothers. After returning to Egypt, the brothers begin to wonder, now that our father is gone, will Joseph repay us? For 17 years they lived under grace, but they never fully believed that they were forgiven. So they send a message to Joseph. Before our father died, he asked you to forgive us. Whether Jacob truly said this or they said it out of fear, we do not know. But when they stand before Joseph, they fall down and say, "We are your servants." And Joseph weeps. Then he speaks one of the most powerful truths in Scripture. Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good to preserve many lives. The Hebrew word used here is kashav, which means to weave, to plan with intention. The brothers wove evil. God wove redemption. Same events, same story, but different intention. This is not God the Father fixing a mistake. This is God the Father orchestrating redemption through brokenness. And this points directly to Messiah, Yeshua. What people did to Yeshua, rejection, betrayal, crucifixion, but what God did through it was to bring salvation to the whole world. Same pattern. You meant it for evil, God meant it for good. Joseph refuses revenge. He says, "Am I in the place of God?" This is humility. This is surrender. This is understanding that justice belongs to God. Just like Yeshua said when he hung on the cross, "Father, forgive them." Joseph lives to see his children, his grandchildren, even the next generation. The one who lost everything ends with abundance. God didn't just restore him, he multiplied what was lost. As Joseph's life comes to an end, he doesn't speak about Egypt, he speaks about promise. He says, God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land. And then he makes them swear, saying, "Carry my bones from here." The phrase he uses, God will surely visit you. According to tradition, this became a prophetic signal. Generations later, when Moses comes into the scene and spoke the same words, Israel knew deliverance had now come. Joseph died in Egypt, but his faith was not in Egypt. His faith was in the promise. Throughout the scripture, we encounter the lives of patriarchs, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and many others. Their stories are not recorded merely as ancient history. They are recorded as living examples, as mirrors held up so that we might see ourselves more clearly, and as testimonies to the character of God the Father who called them. What strikes us most when we look at these men is not their perfection. They were far from perfect. They were ordinary people like you and me. They were not superhumans. Abraham lied about his wife. Isaac played favorites with his son. Jacob deceived his father and wrestled with God. And Joseph, for all his greatness, carried a youthful arrogance that needed to be broken before it could be rebuilt into something useful. And yet, the Father did not discard any of them. He met each one personally, often in their darkest and the most broken moments. He shaped them with the patient hands of a master potter working with clay. He called them out of their familiar places, away from comfort, away from home, and sometimes even away from everything they had known and loved. He singled them out. He walked with them through the fire, and through those very trials, he formed in them the character required to carry his covenant promises forward to the next generation. The challenges they faced are not so different from the challenges we face today. Each of us encounters moments of failure, moments of deep pain, moments when we are misunderstood, mistreated, or when we simply fall short of who we know we are called to be. The patriarchs faced all these things and they were not destroyed by them. They acknowledged their failure, turned back to the Father, and refused to let their sufferings become the final word about God's character, and allowed the Father to transform what the enemy meant for destruction into something that would outlast their own lifetimes. When we choose to do the same, when we lay down our shame, our bitterness, and our fear, and when we turn back to the Father, He bridges the distance between Himself and us through Yeshua, our Joseph, who was rejected by his own, sold for silver, falsely accused, and yet was raised to the highest position in the kingdom so that He could feed the world with the bread of life. What the patriarchs show above all else is that a life lived in honest relationship with the Father through every sorrow, through every joy, through every failure and every triumph, even when His ways were beyond their understanding. So the question is, what is God writing in your life? Because the God of Genesis is still at work today. Genesis ends with a coffin in Egypt, but that coffin is not the end. It is waiting for a promise to be fulfilled. Genesis is complete, but the story of God and His people is only just finding its stride. The family that began with Abraham, survived with Joseph, multiplied in Goshen, is about to cry out from the depths of bondage, and heaven is about to answer. Stay with us, because Exodus is not merely Israel's story, it is yours. It is the journey every one of us must take out of every Egypt that has ever held us, into the freedom that only God can give. Until then, stay blessed.